I'm a traveling spirit, I've seen many shores.
Okay, I'm just making a little tiny video. It's Saturday. The holidays, and it's a lot of snow out there. I just wanted to basically talk a little bit about Peter Greene. He was, I never claimed to be his closest friend. I'm not interested in being anybody's closest friend because it's a busy life. So it's not that I have all kinds of time to have a bunch of friends. But Peter was a very special guy. He was very down to earth. The reason why we met is because I had a friend that I had, somebody that I knew, George Santana. He was a producer, and he brought it to me for me to interview him. So I remember the first time when I was right at MNN doing my my live show. I went live for almost eight years. A lot of work. But Peter came to the studio, and I remember that he was so nervous. We were sitting on the couch, and I remember that he was sweating, and he said to me, "Sissy, I don't know how you keep yourself so calm and so zen when you're about to go live. I'm freaking out over here." So I remember that he basically crossed himself, and we shared the first interview together, and it was beautiful. It was magical. I think Peter was a very down-to-earth guy. This is a guy who, not an A-lister, but a great actor. Okay, a lot of the A-listers out there, they're not great actors, not in my opinion, not in my book. Peter was a great actor. He did a lot of independent films. He was, let me put it this way, he was a fucking inspiration for all actors around the world. I have people reaching out to me from Australia, from England, from Italy, from LA, and basically asking me about Peter. I lost touch with Peter for the last 6 years. He was in his own world, and I was trying to reach out to him, but he wouldn't get back to me, But that's another story. The second time I interviewed Peter was maybe 3 or 5 years after I interviewed him the first time, and we were much closer, right? He knew that I have no agendas. He knew that I don't have any bad intentions. He knew that I'm not interested in getting ahead. Okay, I don't play the game in any way. I don't do any of that. So he was very respectful in that end. He knew what I was about. So I brought him home quite a few times. I cooked for him. We had quite a few discussions because Peter was very passionate. I'm very passionate. So we went at it back and forth, but it looked more almost like an old married couple, But we hang out. We walk the streets. Many times you wouldn't be able to get out there without people saying, "Oh, can I snap a picture with Peter?" Everybody knows Peter. He's done a lot of films and independent films. And so to cut the story short, I said, "Listen, I should be doing some work on you beyond the interview. So he said, okay, sis, do whatever you want. I mean, we wanted to do a few things together, but it was no time. Affections of an Alley Cat, that's a play that I was working on. I was interested in doing that as a film, to get the rights and get the film going. And he said it, okay, let's do it, but you direct it. Peter was very emphatic about that. He said, I trust you, and I know you know your shit. You know films, you know acting. He says, so if we get the rights, you will direct it. But of course, it's like we all have things to do. We all have bills to pay. I have to squeeze in my life. I have to squeeze all the work that I can do. Physical work is really hard, and doing the creative work that's even harder. So it was always challenging to get things done. I like to get things done, but it was no time. And then I remember when we went to the movies to see the Joker together, and he was like, "Oh my God, Sissy, I think that you can." I said to Peter, I think you can be the perfect Joker. You are the Joker. I think we should do that, man. And he said, well, you write it and you direct it. I said, well, Peter, we don't got the money, right? Well, I wrote about it. I put it on Instagram quite a few times and said, well, we'll rob a bank. Don't worry about it. We just get it done and we do whatever we got to do. But, yeah. So I have a lot of stories on Peter, but it's just that I'm a little bit in shock still. It was a mess of popcorn in the. We went to the theater located right at on First, not on First Avenue, on the Riverside Drive on the 42nd Street, I believe. It's a beautiful place, and we went over there, and Peter was a mess. He got popcorn all over the floor. Then we took a cab. It was raining. Said, let's go to the Westway Diner. So we jumped in a cab and we went to the Westway Diner, and he said very sweetly, he said, Sissy, this is my treat. What do you want to eat? And I said, well, I'm not very hungry, but let me get a stuffed tomato. And he said, okay, I can pay for that. Very sweet, very humble. But the last time I was in contact with Peter, he knew that I was working, and I'm still working and doing a documentary about Elizabeth Kemp, the greatest acting coach that I ever had. She trained actors, actor studio member. She trained a lot of very famous people, Hugh Jackman and Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Connelly. Quite a few people. She was great. She was a great mentor, great coach. So, to cut the story short, I'm working in different projects at the same time. Like I'm writing different plays at the same time. So I said, okay. So what do you think? And so he said, I'm close, not extremely close, but I'm close to Mickey Rourke. He said, I think I'm gonna get you. I think I'm gonna get you hooked up with him. And I never pushed to it because I'm not a pusher, and I wasn't Peter Greene's friend to get something out of him. I don't do any of that. So he said, because I know you and I know what you're about, and I know how serious you are. I'm gonna hook you up with Mickey. And so he did. He got me in touch with his assistant, Dima. His name is Dima. And we were texting. Of course, I have to get back to it, but it's just that I said to Peter emphatically, I am not your friend because I want anything from you. You know, I don't operate that way. He said, Sissy, you don't have to explain to me. I already know who you are. I know what you're about. So yeah, so the goal, he said, I have a text. I have to trace a text, but it was a beautiful text that I got from him. Sissy, I know that Mickey is gonna love you like I love you. I know that he's gonna absolutely love you. I know that. So And that was like 6 years ago. And then I tried to reach out to him, and then he kind of disappeared, you know. I guess that, I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm assuming, I'm making some sort of assumptions. I know that he was kind of like a Trump supporter, and he got people around him that supported Trump. So I'm very vocal about what I believe and what I think. I don't hold back a fucking inch. And I think that people around him saw that and maybe told him, probably. I'm assuming. I'm not putting my hands on fire, but I'm assuming that that's exactly what happened. So that's why he got away. And and I was trying to text him, but he wouldn't get back, which was kind of weird. So I kind of like stopped texting him. But we share a lot of times together. I filmed him in a diner, a Metro diner. I have some footage on Peter that I have to edit. We shot him with Esteban on the Brooklyn Bridge and walking in the park, and he was a beautiful human being. He wanted to meet his mom and dad. And I'm still in shock about Peter. I'm still in a state of a shock. Chris Carson, I have to mention, he's a great actor. A very special human being. He reached out to me a couple of weeks ago. I couldn't not even answer the phone because he loved Peter's work, and I just couldn't. I have to get back to Chris. I am making it public. I'm sorry I haven't get back to you, Chris, but when you called me, I was not in good shape. So, yeah, basically, that's what it is. That was Peter Greene. Peter Greene was a great guy. He was a great actor. He was not conventional. He wouldn't play the game. He was a wild animal, a free spirit, and a beautiful, beautiful human being. He was down to earth. He was grounded. He was smart. He was witty. He was funny. He was shy, extremely shy. But that was my friend, and I miss him to death. And I just wanted to share that with the people that care about him. A very special human being was Peter Greene. Very special.